Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Cardona, thank you for being here this morning and for your testimony. Senator Manchin talked about the Upward Bound program. I've had direct experience in New Hampshire with the Upward Bound program. When I worked at the University of New Hampshire, it's one of 2 Upward Bound programs we have, and it's actually been in existence since 1966. Keene State College is the other, in existence since 1974. These programs, like all others, have to recompete every 5 years to continue to operate Upward Bound. But I'm concerned because given that this is a predictable funding cycle for a long-standing federal program, I don't understand why the department is not able to award these grants on time. I recognize that there are challenges, when there are budget challenges with certainty around your budget, that creates a concern. But explain to me why you can't award these programs, because the delays put programs through crises. Their instructors and applicants are notified that they may not be able to get their funding. It has an impact on their ability to continue in higher education, and I just don't understand why this continues to be such a problem.
Thank you, Senator, for highlighting the importance of TRIO programs. I couldn't agree with you more. My wife is a graduate of a TRIO program, went on to get her degree in communications, and she went back to teach at the TRIO program. So certainly I could see the benefits of that. And, you know, as Senator Manchin mentioned, and yourself, you know, there was no risk for delay with the upper bound grants. There were grantees were notified 2 weeks prior to the expiration, but what I'm hearing from you is, could that process be improved so that it's not so late? So what I'll do, Senator, is convene with my team to discuss this, and then I'll have someone from my team reach out to you about the process to see if there's anything we can do.
That would be very helpful. I know that all of those who participate in those programs would appreciate it as well.
Thank you.
I want to go back now to the issue of student loan payments. And you probably don't remember, but last year I asked you about the moratorium end date. And what you told me is that the department would try and provide some certainty on when those student loan payments would be expected to resume. Unfortunately, over that last year, the administration has made 3 last-minute extensions of the current payment moratorium. I'm sure that all of those recipients appreciate that, but it doesn't provide the kind of certainty that they really need as they're planning their lives and trying to figure out what they need to do in order to ensure that they can start making those loan payments again. So can you tell me what process is in place to try and determine when this moratorium will end and when those who need to repay their student loans are going to have to start those payments again?
Thank you. Yes, you know, the information from the Federal Reserve helps drive decisions on whether to extend or not. And we recognize that while the economy has improved, many Americans are still struggling to make ends meet and pay their bills and get their child care bills back up, their mortgage. So we felt that another extension was warranted. We do, as I said last year, want to provide our borrowers a long on-ramp so that they understand when it's going to start, to better prepare them for this process. And we have resources at the Department of Education that are available now that weren't available before to help them. So do you have any sense of when this current moratorium will end? I don't have any information now to share with you about when it would end or whether or not, you know, what the conversations are about when it's going to be lifted. I know we have a date, and it could be that it's extended or it could be that it starts there. But what I will say is that our borrowers will have ample notice, and we'll communicate that with you as well. Thank you. You talked in your opening statement about the challenges that students are facing, the mental health challenges that we're seeing with students. And one of the real issues we have, I know, across the country is not having enough professionals to address mental health challenges. Can you talk about what kind of plans the department could put in place, what kind of legislation we might need to
pass in order to help address that?
Yeah, thank you for that question. You know, we have an opportunity to really reimagine how we're looking at providing support for students, and there's a continuum, right? The social worker, the school social worker, the community social worker is obviously a major support, but additional funding and support for students having access to after-school programs, to good summer programming, to a mentor, those are all good ways of doing it. Supporting programs that allow high school students that are thinking about a career in social work, because it's just a shortage area, to receive incentives to go into that field and to create throughways between our K-12 systems and our four-year institutions to have these students get into these schools earlier to do field work out there while they're getting college credits. These are all creative ways that we're hearing about as I visit different states, but to incentivize that across the nation, I think we're at that point now because there's a shortage there and in many other areas. Another area is incentivizing connections between schools and community-based providers. In Connecticut, we benefited from the Community Health Center tremendously. I've seen models where we have hospitals that are connected to school systems, and the level of care is great because there's a connection with the hospital and a four-year university that helps train and educate these social workers. So I think there's room for growth there. I really want across the country for us to be a little bit more innovative and bold, saying that this has to be a foundational part of the educational experience.
Well, thank you. I certainly agree with that, and anything that we can do on this committee, I'm sure we stand ready.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.